There is, of course, the hue, I said. And of the hue, should it be warm, red, burnt sienna? It is blood, he cautioned, sun and earth, but you'll also need what is cool, green to blue to black, like strata of the sea. We were standing near the edge of a spent field of grain that fell to the sun in a raking mistral. I brought only questions, I said, as he turned to his work with a stony silence, chewing on the stem of a cold blue pipe, facing the wind, that fierce slapping of canvas waiting for imagination's raw nerve to let go a vision. There is intensity, I said, and purity. How deep the shade, how bright, how much white? Should I consider the opacity and the amount of light let through? Should it recede or dominate? Remember, he said, within the color there is the passage. You might expect it to end all at once, but it doesn't. It often wants to modulate from cold to hot, quiet to bold. Yes, but will the hue be held by line? And the line, will it be long or short, thick or thin? How should it be broken, or should it? Should it be continuous, holding everything in? Should it be dark or light? What value? And should it shift? Check for sincerity, he barked. Lines can lie. Remember, there are timid ones as well, with low, slow curves that drift unattached. Consider this. Every line has a beginning and an end. Where does it start? Where and how far will you take it? It might only be implied. I continued, what about chiaroscuro and sfumato? How deep? Should it be rendered a paraclete of lost beauty? A palimpsest, perhaps? Consider this, he said. It's true, beneath the surface lies another surface. But how many must you uncover to find what you need? I haven't yet thought that far, I said. But what about shape and size, one large with many small, amorphous? Perhaps it would be nice to have them all angular, sharply defined. The shapes will have to get to know each other. Will they fight or make love? He turned back into the wind. I could tell by the movement of his ears he was smiling. What about surface, I asked. Texture. Should it be real or trompe-l'oeil? Should it dance with a scumble or a stipple? How clear should it be? How muddy? What of the sheen? Should light slide across in a very slick fashion? He bent to the earth and scooped up a handful of dirt. I suppose Matt would do, he said, scrubbing out an unwanted passage. He turned to me, away from the wind. Everything often dies on the borders, he said. That's where you find the mood, the pleasure, the affliction. Do you want it cosmic and reverential? A mysterious essence moving into the center of things? Something absurdly abstract? Or a political, social implication, scratched, then smeared in blood red? Profane deprecation? A blind gesture? Death? What about a simple landscape, I asked, or a Chinese vase filled with peonies? There's always the portrait, always that. I remember well Dr. Gachet's, his face filled with what seemed wistful regret beneath that ochre hat, his hands painted a delicate flesh tint, his blue frock coat, the yellow books on a red table, the foxglove plant with purple flowers. He looked up. A crescendo of wind-scattered clouds and a rabble of crows sped across the burning fields, a flash of black against the gold, against the blue and white sky. Someday, he said, pointing to the billowing canvas, someone will look at this and find themselves amazed to know they were here, in this stand of ragged wheat, with all these hungry birds diving into the shadows, you with all your questions, and me leaning into the wind. This is where they'll find us, in this painting. This is where we've always been.